It's hard to believe the Cancer Association is celebrating how many years?
21 years this year. The Cancer Association is celebrating its birthday today, and we're so excited. So many things have happened in 21 years here.
Let's just go back to the very beginning. I know some people have heard this story. Remind everybody how it got started.
In 2003, around March, the Cancer Association was officially birthed. Catherine Smith, who is our founding director and is a board member and now an ex officio board member, started this organization in collaboration with Dr. and Dr. Malik, who were oncologists at the time, and other people in the community like Bob Williams, Barbara Kraft, some people you would definitely recognize their names. Recognizing that the Cancer Association could meet a need that was being missed. People were falling through the cracks, needing help for their cancer treatment, whether they needed mileage help to help them get to their treatment, or whether they needed prescription medication that they couldn't afford to pay, or insurance premiums that they couldn't afford. Founding director Catherine Smith, along with leaders in the medical community and in the community itself, started the Cancer Association in 2003. The reason there was a need, Catherine recognized, along with the Maliks and several other people, that there were people who were falling through the cracks. They had needs. They couldn't get to their treatment. They couldn't get prescriptions for their treatment. And they had a lot of financial issues going through cancer treatment. So this group of people got together and formed the Cancer Association of Anderson. And it's been around now for 21 years, helping cancer patients in Anderson County. We only have two criteria. One is that you're an Anderson County resident, and two is that you're in active treatment for cancer. It's an amazing organization, meets a lot of needs in the community, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
I know you weren't around at the start, but you've been plugged into the community for a long time. How difficult was it to get this thing going?
I'm sure that Catherine and everybody involved had a tough time getting the Cancer Association started. It's hard to start any organization and get it off the ground. One of the major obstacles is money. The Cancer Association was started through funds that were raised through the Concert of Hope and Remembrance. Bob and Carla Heritage worked with Catherine Smith to get that concert started, and were able to raise money the year before it started, and then the first year that it was formed, to help the Cancer Association get a strong grounding and a foundation that they could go forward. It was tough in the beginning, just like it's tough today, to raise the funds to keep everything going and be able to help the number of people. Since the very beginning in 2003, the number of people who've come through our doors have grown, and lately it's been exponentially. Part of it is because screening techniques are better, and they're catching cancers faster, which is a good thing. It allows people to get better treatment and get it up front before the cancer can get worse or go to higher stages. The way that they've been able to do that has helped people, but it's also brought more people through our door, which means it costs more for us to be able to maintain and to be able to help those people and be a support for them. So just like always with every organization around, funding is your main obstacle to tackle.
How long have you been a part of this group, Angie, and how did you get involved?
Around 2009, I was employed with Anderson County, and the administrator who came on board, Rusty Burns, had a good relationship with the Cancer Association, and we were doing several events, such as the bike race. We started it. Catherine was very excited. There was a patient that was struggling with cancer at the time, around 2009, when I was working at Anderson County. He loved cycling. So we partnered with the Cancer Association and put together the Tour de, as Rusty says, Tour de la France. We put that event on and raised money, and the proceeds that we got came to help the Cancer Association. But it was a wonderful community event, and it was a pleasure to be involved with it from the county side and to see people come out and support cycling in Anderson County as well as support the Cancer Association. That was my first experience with being involved with the Cancer Association. We did that event for several years, raising money. And around 2013, when we had Celebrate Anderson, which was another county event that I was heavily involved in, I had a hard time bouncing back from the event, which I had never had before. I was very active, but just had a tough time and realized one morning when I woke up that I found a knot in the upper part of my chest. And I called the doctor and went for my mammogram. I was about 2 months late getting my mammogram. So I went, and that started a process which lasted from being diagnosed in September of 2013 until my final chemo treatment, which was in December of 2014. So it was about a 15-month journey of treatment. And then, like with any cancer patient, it's not over then. You just start a new chapter in your life of recovering from the treatment. So during that time, I was still working in Anderson County and had stayed very active and was very appreciative, and still am, of my time at the county. I was very fortunate to have a support system there and a boss like Rusty Burns, who understood cancer. He had a family member who had battled. So he was very supportive of me during that time, which was very important in getting through what I got through and being successful in fighting that battle. So after that, I worked for the county. I had worked the whole time, but around, I think it was maybe November of 2015, I was approached by several people in the community that let me know that there was an opening at the Cancer Association, which I felt totally inadequate to even think about applying. But one friend of mine, Carol Burdette, really encouraged me. She said, "I think this job is something that you would be good at." Another friend of mine, Ann Thayer, was the same way. She said, "Angie, you need to go apply for this job." And I finally did, thinking nothing would come of it. And I got a call Christmas Eve of 2015 by the chairman of the board here, Tina Jury, who said, "We've talked and we would love to have you be the director." I was overwhelmed because I never thought that I would be, taking another job. I loved my job at the county, loved what I did. I loved the people, and it was a big change for me. But I was also very excited because it was a new chapter. It was totally different. And I was excited about being able to give hope to people who were where I was a couple of years before. And that started my journey. My first day was January the 18th of 2016. And the reason it was on a Tuesday was because Rusty wanted me to stay and work the Martin Luther King Jr. Day event with him. So I did that and started here on the day after that. And I've been here 8 years this past January. And it's been quite a privilege and an honor. It's been tough, but it's also been a joy to see people. Just day before yesterday, we had a gentleman come in who had just finished his treatment, and he came in the door. He was a little shy, and I said, "Well, you know what we do when people finish their treatment? We celebrate." So he rang the bell, and by the time he left, he was laughing and happy, and it just it gives you joy to see that when you see somebody successfully in their treatment too.
Angie, having been through it yourself, for people who haven't, what kind of reaction do people have when they first hear that word from the doctor?
Hearing those 3 words, "you have cancer," is earth-shattering. I remember being almost like an out-of-body experience, because the words are, you hear them, but they're not sinking in. And your mind is trying to wrap around that thought that I have cancer. There's an unseen enemy in me that I don't know how to fight, and what's going to happen. The uncertainty of knowing, of not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen next week. I remember thinking, will I be here at Christmas? You know, what's going to happen to my family? Will I see, you know, my kids get married? Will I see these things? It's like a crossroads where people say your whole life flashes before your eyes, but it's more surreal than that. You think about the things that matter. It's amazing. You don't think about, you know, what I'm wearing, what I look like, how much I weigh, what I've got to do when I get home. Things go to a much more eternal, you know, have I made a difference? What am I going to do with my life if I do survive this? It was very surreal for me, and I think it is for most people, to be faced with your mortality, you know, and know that life is, you know, is special, and you appreciate things a lot more than you did. I remember getting through the end of my treatment and thinking, you know, I remember one morning I had been so sick and couldn't keep any food down, didn't like smells. I couldn't even stand the smell of food. And I remember one morning waking up, and I can remember the sun coming through the window, and I woke up and I thought, I'm not nauseated. I am not nauseated. And I was afraid to move because it had been a constant thing in the pit of my stomach for 4 or 5 months. And my husband came in and said, do you want some coffee? And I said, mm-hmm. And he walked out, and he came back in, and he goes, are you going to get up? And I went, mm-hmm. And he said, are you okay? And he came over, and I said, I don't feel nauseated, and I'm afraid that maybe I've just found the right position, and I'm afraid to move. And he laughed at me, and he said, maybe it's over. And it was. And I remember that day. And you know, before then, it would never have dawned on me to say, thank you, Lord, that I'm not nauseated today. But now, sometimes I wake up and he reminds me, you know, you have so many things that get on your mind, and we let things that are really insignificant in the scheme of things bother us. But thinking back to that time is like, I never thought to be thankful that today I'm standing up straight. I'm not nauseated. I can keep food down very well, as a matter of fact. But it changes your perspective. Those 3 words change your life. And I remember, and I know you've heard this too, you either get bitter or better. And I think we make a choice every day. Cancer patients just are hit dead in the face with that choice. Because you realize that death is a breath away. And, you know, any of us could walk out and, the old saying, get hit by a bus. But when you're faced with it and you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, it changes the way you live, I think.
And you were just telling somebody you start living in 5-year increments. Explain that. When I had HER2 positive cancer, and it's a very aggressive cancer. Fortunately, it was found very early. But I remember one morning reading through, and you should never do that. Never read the statistics ever, because it will get you depressed. But I remember reading it and seeing, you know, so many percent live, you know, up to 5 years, and that's like a big goal when you get cancers. 5 years. If you make it 5 years, and then I started looking farther, and it's like, well, fewer people last 10 years, and almost nobody lasts 15 years, with this type of cancer or whatever. And I'm going, wait a minute, I don't want to think this way. So when I made it to my first 5 years, I was like, yes. But then I'm thinking, okay, I got to make it to the second 5 years. And I did. I'm celebrating just over 10 years being a survivor. So I'm going to make it 15, and I'm hoping for 20. So, I'm pretty proud of that. And it's just a blessing to be able to say that I survived something that was life-threatening, and to give people hope that you can. So I want to give hope for a long time.
And you did get to see the kids get married and grandkids and...
Yes. More than I even dreamed. And it's funny, my husband and I have talked a long time about bucket list stuff, but we really have started trying to do things for us to enjoy. We worked and worked and worked. We had kids, and you're buying a house, and you're doing this and trying to get your family settled and all. And now we have gotten to the point, I think, where we're still working, still doing things, but at the same time stopping to smell the roses. We actually smelled some roses in Ireland 2 years ago. Went on Christmas time and got to tour Scotland and Ireland, and we have some other things planned, but we're just trying to do things that we always wanted to do that are on our bucket list.
And you can remind people when they come through here what you've survived and what you're doing now.
Yes. And it's exciting to know. I go back to a verse that I felt real strong about when I was diagnosed. It just not, and I know this, Greg, growing up in church, you hear verses, and you don't even think about them, but then all of a sudden one of them will come back and you're like, where did that come from? I can't believe I remember it. But the verse that said that the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our trials, so that then in turn we can comfort other people. And that just came up in my spirit. And I think that's the reason I'm still here, is to give people hope, and hopefully to comfort them that, things happen in life, and great things and scary things and hard things, but we can find hope and we can find comfort and go through the journey. And the thing is to not go through it alone. And I think the Cancer Association was that for me. I had a very strong support system. I have a wonderful family. My parents had just moved back to Anderson in July before I was diagnosed, and that was such a blessing because they were here with me. My mom went to almost every appointment with me, sat by me, helped me get ready for those chemo appointments, putting the lidocaine on where my port was, and getting me ready for it, and helping my husband, who was pretty much falling apart because I had cancer and he couldn't fix it and he wanted to. I had a great support system, but walking through these doors, although I already knew about the Cancer Association, I didn't know what I needed to know. And it was a place of hope. It was a place of family. And like I tell people when they come through here, we all have different journeys, but you can know this, you'll never be alone. And that's what I felt from here. The financial part is a godsend. The emotional part is wonderful. The physical part that we help with is great. But I think the most important thing to most people who come through the doors is knowing they're not alone anymore. That they have somebody to walk through their journey with them, to help them find the answers if they don't know them. And if we don't know them, we know where to go. And to be a conduit, So I love this place. Catherine did an amazing thing starting it, and this community owes her a great debt, because starting this amazing organization has helped more than 10,000 individuals in the 21 years that it's been here. And I like to tell people that she did an amazing thing, and I walk softly in her footsteps.
Well, today's not just the Cancer Association's birthday. It's somebody else's birthday.
Yes, it is. I am 60 years old today. I'm proud of every year. People are you telling people? I'm sorry. I am proud of those years. And, you know, I couldn't be happier to be spending it celebrating this birthday too.
Well, let's look the next 5 years for you and for the Cancer Association. We've got some really big plans.
Yes, we do. We are in the process of preparing to build a new building next door, right outside our window, and replace the building that used to be there. We started out 2003 in a 110-year-old home. By the time I came there in 2016, it was starting to have some major issues with leaking, with settling, with other things, and moisture problems. So the board made the decision to go ahead and tear the building down. It started getting on the verge of being a little unsafe. And so we tore it down and moved next door into Harold Threlkell's old office. Harold was a good friend of the Cancer Association, and his estate worked with us to be able to move in here and to buy the house. And Dr. Malik, both of them, Ravinder and Rajiv, donated the property next door. So we have started on a journey raising money for a $2 million project, which is a lot to bite off, but it's going to do great things for this community. It's cutting edge plans. We have a wonderful board who has a lot of vision, and they want to be able to help patients not just get through cancer and not just get through their treatments, but to gain their quality of life back and to be stronger on the other side of cancer. And part of that is using complementary therapies. Our new facility will have a teaching kitchen so that we can bring people in, bring a chef, dietitian, and show people how to make healthy meals, healthy snacks. We're fortunate through United Way to get a grant from USDA to start a community garden, which has very humble beginnings here, but it's going to grow as we go forward, and then that in turn can feed into our new kitchen to teach people, and we'll open it up so that other organizations can use it as well. We'll have a multi-purpose room where we can have Zumba, Tai Chi, yoga, exercise classes, also classes to help people know how to get your advance directives, because let's face it, some of us could get hit by a bus. Everybody needs to have their will finished. They need to have their advance directives to let their families know and to take that burden off your family, no matter how old you are. So we'll have classes on that. We've had some in the past, but we have to find other places to do it. This way we'll have our own space. We'll be able to do that. Plus, one of the things we've already implemented is a lot of patients, when they go through a lot of surgeries, they have a lot of scar tissue, which inhibits full range of motion, causes pain, just different things that it can cause issues with. We have a neuromuscular massage therapist who comes in once a month and helps between 5 to 8 patients a month. And she sets up in our facility, but we have to move everything around, and we'll have a space that will be dedicated to it in our new building so that we can have that. We'll also have the opportunity to bring in an acupuncturist. Now, people may think, well, you know, why would you want to do that? At any time, we have 1 to 3 former addicts who come through who are going through cancer treatment. Can you imagine thinking that you had to face cancer without pain medication, or either risk going back down that pathway?
Well, acupuncture is a proven evidence-based modality to help with nausea and to help with pain. And we have one of our board members in particular who dealt a lot with nausea really bad, that the pain medication and the nausea medication wasn't really helping. She was able to do acupuncture and it helped her. So she's a big proponent for it. And we have other patients who have gone and had that, and it's helped them get through without having to take the drugs. So that's something we want to offer. Pet therapy. We have Dr. Marshall Matters, God rest him, provided us with a puppy who is still in training. His name is McDreamy, to do pet therapy. And he's learning, but he's a lovable boy, and he's going to be a great one when he finally gets there. He's still got a lot of puppy in him, but that's going to be a great thing that we're going to offer. Music therapy. We do our concert every year, and that is therapy, I can promise you. When we finish with the concert, you just wouldn't believe how many people will call and say, I miss our practices. That was my therapy group for the week. Because we start practicing in June and go through September or October when we perform. So we're going to do more with music therapy. Maybe have some of the drums for percussion and things like that people can learn. So there's going to be space for us to do that. Right now we have very limited space. We have no storage. So we'll have a lot of that over there. And we'll also have community space where people can come in and do our scrapbooking, get together. There'll be a lot of opportunity for that, and classes and fellowship. Plus we'll be able to have some of our events at our own space. So we're excited about that, and it's going to be an amazing place with an amazing outdoor courtyard and some green spaces outdoors that will give people a place to find a little respite from treatment with a water feature and things like that. So I would encourage everybody to go to our website and look at the new facility plans. It's going to be amazing. We had a great architect who worked on it, Don Chapman, and he's done an amazing job taking our needs and what we envisioned for the future to grow this place and to give people a place that not only can they get through treatment and find hope, but that they can find hope in quality of life and getting back to some sense of normalcy after treatment.
And do you have a schedule, or it's just as you raise the funds, or how's this looking?
Well, right now we're trying to raise the funds. We've set a goal that we want to raise 1.5 to 1.75 before we break ground. We're on track. I would like to, hopefully, we're praying, October maybe to break ground. But as most people know, especially with nonprofits, we also are raising the funds to keep the place going, to be able to give the funds out as they're needed. And it's about $50,000 plus a month to keep the support that we have in the community and keep the place running. So we're doing that at the same time. We didn't want to hire a consultant and try to do all that, because we want to use our money very wisely and almost be miserly about it, because the patients come first. So we're hoping that we'll have the funds by, so we can break ground in October.
And how excited are some of the folks who've come through here about this new facility?
Oh, everybody's thrilled. And I'm sure you'll show pictures. So we have lots of pictures. It's going to be a nice thing. And we're downtown. We're on East Calhoun Street. So it's going to be a nice addition to this road. It's also going to be an addition to downtown. And when we get this accomplished, it's going to be cutting edge, because there's not a whole lot in the state, much less really even farther than that, that's going to offer the things that we offer and give people a place where they can come and they can be active, fellowship, and have the complementary therapies that they need that will help them be a better patient and have better outcomes.
And all of this has been done by raising funds just for the folks here in Anderson County?
Yes, that's correct.
That's the beauty of the Cancer Association of Anderson versus the American Cancer Society or some of the other larger national organizations. Every penny we raise stays here to help our neighbors and our family. It's an amazing thing. You know, a lot of people will say to me, well, you know, we raised money for Relay for Life. That's great. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'd love to be worked out of a job. I wish they would come up with a cure for cancer and I'd have to find something else to do. That would be wonderful. But until that happens, the Cancer Association of Anderson is the boots on the ground to get things done and to walk alongside people who live in Anderson County. We have 2 criteria. You live in Anderson County and you have cancer. That's the only thing we ask for. We don't do demographic, you know, statuses or levels or anything like that. We don't care if you have insurance, have a job, don't have a job, don't have insurance. We don't care how old you are. We don't care anything like that. If you have cancer and you live in Anderson County, you come through our doors and we will help you. And that's a great thing to be able to say. Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Cancer Association of Anderson. Happy birthday to you.
You are.
I'm Laura Arflin.
And how did you get involved and find out about the Cancer Association of Anderson?
I found out about the Cancer Association when I had breast cancer in 2020.
And what has it meant to you for what they've done here?
Well, it was just a great sense of community. It was wonderful to have. I found out actually after my first chemo treatment that when I went to check out that day that my prescriptions had been covered by the Cancer Association, which was a really great surprise. And it's a really great sense of community. The events that they put on, the support that they give to cancer patients in Anderson County. We've attended some of the events, the color run, the 5K, the balloons, the hot air balloons, and it's just a lot of support for cancer patients and survivors.
And for somebody who hasn't heard of it that may have gotten a diagnosis, what would you tell them about how important this is to them and their family?
Well, I think support is a really big part of it because it's a lot to go through, and so I think having that support system is one of the biggest things that you can have.
And have you told a lot of people about it and what's going on here?
I have, yeah. I've told a lot of my friends and family about it.
And have you told them, I'm going to do this for Angie, have you told them to give money so they can build a new building?
Yeah, to get involved in all the events that are going on so that they can raise money and keep helping more patients.
My name is Andrea Roderick.
And how did you get involved with the Cancer Association of Anderson?
I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2019.
And how did you hear about it?
I was referred by the hospital staff, Oglesby Center.
And how meaningful has being involved here and them being involved with you been to you and your family?
Oh, it's immeasurable. Just knowing that you're not alone, you've got somebody in your corner. The resources they have. I've recently started volunteering with them as well.
And are you excited about the new facility they're working on?
Oh, very excited. Very excited. Hopefully they can help more people.
And if somebody's in the community looking for an organization to support, why don't you tell them they should give their support to this organization?
Because it's needed. It's needed. It's help for people that definitely need it.